Officials at the Clinton Foundation have been accused of ignoring good practices when it comes to operating that foundation. Listen to what Sharon Day had to say. She is co-chair of the Republican convention. Watch this.
As head of a foundation, you accepted tens of millions of dollars from foreign countries who enslave women and who treat them as second-class citizens.
Well, that was a criticism, but the question is the slush fund, as I might call it, the Clinton Foundation, is it being run legally and or ethically? There's only one person who can answer that question. All rise. Judge Andrew Napolitano is here.
The charge that the monies came from foreign governments that enslave women and gays and minorities is actually among the lesser of the charges here. The gravest of them is that Mrs. Clinton, while Secretary of State, used the official powers of her office to confer benefits on foreign governments and foreign persons who then made major contributions in return for those benefits to the foundation.
So it's a quid pro quo.
Right, and we're not talking about tens of millions, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. The most extreme example of which is the Canadian friend of her husband. The man's name is Frank Giustra, who, as a Canadian, needed permission of the Secretary of State to own shares in a uranium mine in the west, Utah or Nevada, I'm not sure which. She gave him the permission. He acquired the shares. He then sold them to an entity wholly owned by the Kremlin. And then he made a $145 million contribution to the Clinton Foundation. Now, this is the most extreme example of dozens well documented by the folks that have been looking at this.
The authorities have not dug into this yet.
Well,
we've heard about the email scandal and all that, but now the Clinton Foundation.
I believe, and a lot of us that watch this believe, that this is a second wave of FBI investigations. Slower, more methodical, more detailed, heavily paper-laden, that the FBI will soon sink its teeth into. Now, you talk about best practices. The charitable community has standard practices. You have to have a board of 15 people. You have to have outsiders on the board. They have to have transparency. Of course, the Clintons didn't have any of this. They had their closest friends on the board. Bill was being paid huge amounts of money for very little work in return. All of this is now beginning to come out, and she will somehow have to answer for it. One of the worst things they did was solicit charitable donations in venues where they were not authorized or registered as a charity. So theoretically, the people who made those donations, deducted that from their adjusted gross income, are entitled to sue for the donation back.
Oh, good Lord. All right, Judge, now there's a story for you.
Yes.
All right, Judge Napolitano will be back in the 11 o'clock hour, and we thank you very much.